Biggest issue that I hear from clients who've worked with other therapists who don't understand or aren't experienced working with sex addiction is that it's treated almost as if it is an affair. It has all the devastation of discovering infidelity, and for many partners, even if there hasn't been physical infidelity, offline infidelity, if you like, if it has been pornography or online chat, the breach of trust is still devastating. And I think a number of things that make it very different from an affair. One is the fact that it will almost certainly have been going on for years and years and years. So, and most often it predates the relationship. So what partners find out is basically that the person that they're in a relationship with is not who they thought they were.
Right.
And I think another misconception, and I talked about this on the last event I did with you, a lot of people with sex addiction are not very sexual, because sex addiction really has nothing to do with sex at all. Yeah. It's all about this anaesthetising behaviour. It's all about this way of escaping. So for most partners would say, and it's so common, he is the last person on the planet you think was a sex addict.
Right.
The last person on the planet. He's very quiet, he's very sort of retiring, I'm the one that's normally initiating sex, he's often not particularly into it, but that may be because of his guilt and shame that he's doing it elsewhere, as it were. So the partners are just, the shock is phenomenal.
Yeah, like they've no idea. There's been no sense whatsoever.
Absolutely. And again, this is what's so different from other addictions. You couldn't live with an alcoholic and not know. You probably couldn't live with a drug addict and not know. You probably couldn't live with a gambling addict and not know, unless you were phenomenally wealthy. This addiction has no side effects, or the side effects that a partner might notice is that they seem to be going off sex. They seem to be more withdrawn, perhaps getting sexual dysfunctions. So there's absolutely no sign whatsoever. So not only is there that absolute devastation to partners that this man, and it normally is that way around that we work, is not the person they thought they were, but also they themselves are not the person they thought they were, because we all think we're a quite good judge of character. We tend to assume we can do that. We particularly think we know our partner, particularly if we've been married for 20 years. Mm-hmm. If this has been going on for 20 years and you didn't know at all, what does that say about you? So the self-doubt that partners feel is absolutely huge as well.
That makes sense. Like we've chosen to get into a relationship with someone and not known that about them, and then it's continued all the time, and could really make us question our judgment.
Yes,
yeah, and that then can rattle everything in life, like the way that we see everything.
Exactly, because partners end up feeling as though they can't, they can't judge anything. They don't know anything. And the self-doubt sort of permeates on so many different levels, that sense of kind of incompetence, but also the low self-esteem that happens as well, because obviously sex addiction is very, very personal to a couple relationship. And I mean, most of the partners I've worked with would say, I could cope with any other addiction but this, because there has been that infidelity that happens with an affair, but also there's the addiction bit, the fact that actually this has gone on for years and I had no idea. And I think the other key difference with affairs, well, one is certainly it's almost never a symptom of a problem in the relationship. As a couple counsellor working with infidelity, generally we would be sort of looking at how the affair is part of the system of the relationship, whereas addiction, nearly, as I say, 99% of the time predates the relationship. So this is not a symptom of a problem within the relationship. This has always been there, but it's not been recognised. So there isn't a before. So typically in couple counselling with infidelity, we might say, so how was your relationship when you first got together? Tell me about when you met. For the partner, it's like, I have no idea how our relationship was when we got together. Not anymore. I wasn't married to the person I thought I was. I just have absolutely no idea what it was like. He's always been doing this, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. But that could be an easy mistake to make as a couples counsellor, I guess, because that's what we would usually do. And yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, for partners, they will say that looking at the wedding photo, looking at any photographs, they can't really look at them anymore because where were you the day before that photo was taken? What were you really doing on your stag night? There's so much disclosure that often needs to happen. So yeah, nothing. I remember one partner saying very powerfully to me, I wish I could find out how much of my history is my own. Because that sense that none of her history was her own anymore. And the other key difference to affairs is that there very likely won't be an after. So if somebody is getting into recovery from an addiction, they are likely to be in recovery, perhaps for the rest of their life.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not going to be over. This is going to be somebody, if it was alcohol, they'd be abstaining from alcohol, they'd be careful at alcohol, they'd have to be more vigilant if they were going to Christmas at various events at the office do. If you're married to someone with a sex addiction, you're going to be staying with somebody who's going to have to maintain some sense of vigilance, who's going to have to be aware of their triggers, who might be all part of a recovery community. There's no before and there's no after.
That's quite a profound thing, isn't it? That this is a real part of the person that's not going to be cured or something. There's no, then it was always been there in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, so it's really helpful to draw those distinctions between, right, we might think, oh, this is like an affair, we kind of know what we're dealing with here. No, this is very different.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the question never to ask a partner is, how was your sex life?
Right. So why is that, Paula? Why is that the hot question not to ask?
Instantly, partners feel blamed.
Yeah.
Why are you asking? The answer is likely to be, well, obviously not good enough. And but otherwise he wouldn't be a sex addict, because that's what they fear themselves. By the very implication of asking it, although it might be an interesting question at some stage, is that it's something to do with their sex life.
And that's one of the big things to understand here. It's nothing to do with the sexual relationship. And like we did this in the last conversation we had, but you really helped us to see it's something about the person escaping from their life and their need to escape, and how that is reinforced chemically within the brain as well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And that is absolutely nothing to do with the relationship with their partner. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, the quality of the relationship with the partner is likely to feed the system. So, particularly if the person with the addiction has got attachment issues in childhood, and that is part of the reason they became addicted, because of those attachment issues, then clearly those attachment issues are likely to be around in the couple relationship. But the couple relationship didn't cause the addiction. I mean, certainly the impact, quite aside from the trust, the breach of trust on the relationship, is huge, because, of course, all the time that the person with the addiction has maintained this secret life, this secret identity, quite often, that secret has been damaging the intimacy within the couple relationship. And it may be that from the partner's perspective, I mean, they didn't know, but the fact that they were married to someone who was a little bit distant, who seemed to travel a lot, or who were, may have suited them fine, but they never expected that it was because of addiction. They never thought it was because of that. And any issues and tensions within the couple relationship, of course, are going to impact the recovery work. And I think that's the other thing to be important of. When you're doing couple counselling, and chances are